Welcome to the Vision and Purpose Podcast, where we dive deep into the lives of incredible people who have made a mark on the world. Join us as we explore the journeys, stories, and passions of individuals who have achieved extraordinary feats, shattered barriers, and inspired us all. And now your host, Dr. Sharon H. Porter. Welcome to Vision and Purpose Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Sharon H. Porter, and today we are excited to welcome the star of the First Time Homebuyers Club on OWN premiering December the 30th, Miss Amina Stevens. Welcome, Miss Stevens. I'm so thrilled to have you as a guest.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to chat with you today.
Absolutely. And as a lifelong educator, 30 plus years, a current elementary principal, I have got to start there.
Yes.
Please tell us about your transition from education to real estate.
Wow. So I grew up in a family of educator. My mom is a teacher. My aunt's a principal. So I grew up in education. And I remember when I was young, I used to, take all of my assignments home from school and lock my sister in a room and make her, learn everything that I've learned. So she's 4 years younger than me, but now she's, probably 4 years smarter than me. But it started early as a passion just from what I was around and what I did with my siblings. But then I got into education and I realized that, I loved teaching, but I wasn't necessarily in love with the profession of being a teacher, right? So I started to think about what else do I love and how else can I use my skills to help people grow and, do what I love. And the only other thing I could think of that I really, really loved, I was like, I love houses. I don't know much about them. I grew up in apartments. I never really was in houses that much, but I love watching TV shows with houses. And I was like, let me research what, how I can maybe get involved in this. I didn't even know to call it real estate, honestly. I was like, houses, whatever. So I found out about real estate school and I transitioned because I was really feeling a little bit guilty because I was teaching in Title I schools and I was having a great impact. And, I was like, well, can I leave and still feel fulfilled? Can I leave and still feel like I can have a greater impact? But one day, one of my friends said, hey, Amina, don't you think if you had more resources, you could have a greater impact? And I pondered on that for a while and I realized, you know what? I think I can do this real estate thing, but I'm going to do it my way, right? I'm going to do it where I still bring my education self into it. And I transitioned into real estate. I focus on first-time home buyers. I focus on learning all that I can learn about how to, close gaps within minority home ownership. And, we're here today.
I love it. I do. I absolutely love it because, one of the things that really grabbed my attention, I was able to watch the pre-screener for the first episode. And one of the things that I was really excited about was your authentic care for educating your client. Just making sure that they were really equipped with the knowledge so that they could make a better decision about the home that they will be purchasing. Can you talk a little bit about why that's so important to you?
Wow, I'm honestly honored. I haven't seen the pre-screening, but I'm honored that came through because I always tell people they see, my success and they think, you're such a great realtor. You're such a great salesperson. I'm like, no. I'm a lousy salesperson. I am an educator. I want to empower people with the information and the knowledge to make the decisions that's best for them. I give them all that information so that my conscience is clear. What do you want to do, right? So part of it is, is that I don't really want to just sell someone a home for the sake of it. I really want to feel like I'm a guide. I'm their guide and their advisor in the process, and then they can make an educated decision about what's best for them, themselves, their family, and their investment. So, I think that I really love the fact that I'm able to educate through real estate because as an education, it doesn't just stop with that person. It continues to go and it continues to inspire others. And then you see, a community of people that have this intellectual capital to make more money and build generational wealth.
I love it. I do. And so now even going from educator, from teacher to realtor, but how does one land a show on OWN? What was that process like?
Wow. I mean, I'm super excited to be here on OWN. It's the perfect place for this show. And I'm so happy that, on my graduation cap, I have a picture of my graduation cap said, teach to close the gap. And then it says Miss Stevens. Because my passion was always how can I be of best use, right? And for me, of best use in education was to teach, in, underperforming schools and communities, right? And then in education, in real estate, I saw the same thing. There is, a gap in minority home ownership, therefore in wealth as well, right? So I really preached some of this stuff like online and through all the things that I was promoting. And I was found on Instagram. A lot of people think that I applied for the show. They think that I was so ambitious. They look at me and they think, oh, you're so ambitious that you got a show. And I'm like, no. I'm so passionate. And my mom always told me, because I felt really guilty, like I said, leaving education. And she said, you know what? When you're in the right place and when you're in the right field, it'll all add up. Every single part of you, all your aptitudes, all your strengths will all combine to have massive impact. So here I am doing what I do, what I naturally want to do. I mean, I took buyers on a home buyer field trip where I put them on a bus and took them all around town and showed them different communities, different price points, different types of investments. Not because anybody told me to, because I'm like, look, I'm a teacher and we go on field trips. Let's go. Let's educate. So things like that attracted the right attention. And I'm so happy that I'm able to make a real show that educates people about the realities of homeownership and how to make it happen for themselves.
Absolutely. And it really is a testament to how the skills as an educator are so transferable. Like hey,
It's like teachers make the best realtors. It's a thing in
yes.
this industry.
Absolutely. And you are a true testament to that. So I love that. So your focus, first time home buyers, surely there are challenges. And like I said, the first episode, I think everyone will absolutely love. Just first of all, and I love how it focuses on one person. Like you really, I love that. It's not cut into different people. So you really get to see really, that whole story of that person's purchasing process. So it's amazing. So with saying that, there are some common challenges. And the first episode was not your traditional first time home buyer, right? And so what are some of those common challenges just over the years that you've seen that first time home buyers face?
Well, of course, many times first time home buyers don't at all know what is required to get into a home, right? So I always want to talk about the fact that the first challenge a lot of times is just lack of education and lack of faith and optimism that they can be a homeowner. Many times I have to start from the beginning with people and be like, this could be you, right? Like you can get a home. Okay, so now that we're here, now that you believe it, this is what we need to do, right? So first is just the lack of education and sometimes access to, because I didn't even know, like, it's so funny in this industry, people will say, you can throw a rock and hit a realtor. And I'm like, not where I grew up. not, I didn't know no realtors, okay? So just lack of access to this whole industry, this whole field and all this education and knowledge. So that's first thing. And then the second thing is lack of resources, right? A lot of times people don't have, what they think, a lot of times people think they need 20% down, which is not true, right? And you'll see this in the show time and time again. So they don't think they have the resources, whether it's 20%, 3%, 5%, okay? So lack of resources. And, I definitely think that sometimes there's a lack of credit worthiness or ability. They maybe had some, or maybe even knowledge, right? They didn't know how missing one payment can drop your score 80 points, right? I know that from experience, and it was an error. My payment dropped 80 points. That would have taken me out of qualifying, right? So, lack of understanding about credit and about, finances really is probably the biggest barrier, where mentality as well as financial literacy, I would say.
Absolutely. And the pre-approval process is so important. And I'm assuming that's really the first step. I mean, I was sitting thinking when I was looking at the episode, like, oh my God, I bought my first home so many years ago, but it took me back to that time, right? Knowing how much you're even approved for, that's got to be like the first step, right?
Ooh, I have a little bit of a controversial opinion.
Okay,
And some
okay.
people some people are going to disagree, but my opinion is that the first step is to connect with an awesome realtor. And I don't mean awesome realtor just because your friend said, hey, work with Sarah. Like, work with Amina. Do your research. Look them up. Find them on Instagram. See what they're about, right? Because all the time I have clients that come to me that are pre-approved, and I know the sauce. I know the programs. I know, the ins and outs on how to, make things more affordable, et cetera. And if you started with a lender, you may not have access to all of the information, that I have and the know-how that I have. So I think you want to connect with somebody. If you don't know, you need to connect with somebody that knows. And then you guys partner together to, what options is the client aware of, right? What options am I aware of a realtor? We're going to work together to figure this whole thing out. But I think a lot of times if people start, oh yeah, I'm going to go find a lender, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to get approved for a loan. But what about if you can get approved for better, right? Or what if we can make it more affordable for you, right? So I definitely think connecting with a great realtor is the first step.
I like that. I would agree with that. And so what do you want viewers to take away from watching each episode, starting with the premiere? And I think it's a back-to-back premiere night, and every night that they watch it every week. What do you want them to take away from your episodes?
Wow, there's so much, but I definitely think that I want everyone to want to tune in to each episode because this is not a show that is cookie cutter. There's no script. There is no format. The format is here's Amina's client and what's their situation and how's she going to strategize to try to help them get into a home. So every single episode poses a unique set of challenges. There's a new lesson, right? So there's some episodes where we're talking about a single family home. Sometimes we're talking about a townhome. Sometimes we're talking about a duplex. Sometimes the client has a ton of money saved, but a lower credit score. Sometimes they have a high credit score and not a lot of money saved. Sometimes they're buying in the suburbs. Sometimes they're buying in the city. Sometimes they have 5 minutes to get into the home. Sometimes they have 6 months. So every single episode, you are going on a journey. It's not about the houses. It's about home ownership. It's about the journey. It's about the client, right? And it's about how both client and Amina collaborate together to help their dreams come true or help them figure out what their path to homeownership really is. So it's not a predictable show. So every single episode, you're going to get something new. And every episode, you're going to be like, wow, I learned something new about pre-approvals. I learned something new about mortgages. I learned something new about real estate and how to value, how prices, come up. So I think that I want everybody to watch the show and learn the lesson, experience the journey with us. You're going to feel like you're on board with us. Okay. Come on board with us and learn what we learned. Because sometimes I'm learning stuff while we are going through the process. This happened, that happened. This dude didn't go through. It's going to be a whirlwind, but you were going to learn a lot. I don't even think you're going to learn a little bit, a lot every episode. And that's what we set out to do. Something that's entertaining, but something that's real, because real estate, if you've ever bought a home, if you've ever sold a home, if you've ever witnessed somebody from the sidelines buy a home, things go on, things go down, and you're going to be, the viewers are going to have a front row seat to watch that all play out and learn. And I mean, I think there's so much more that they're going to learn that we didn't even anticipate.
Wow. I love it. I really do. And the connection that you were able to forge with your client, is that, number one, is that common? And number two, is that really what happened? Like without the cameras, like you really bridged that relationship. I mean, sitting down at dinner, all of those things. Is that a real thing?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I call, I can't say it happens to everybody, but that's what I call the Homes by Amina experience, right? Like, I love this. I love real estate. Like, I'm in it. Like, I'm having the time of my life. It ain't always easy, right? But I mean, I am in it. I mean, you're going to see, through the show that I gamify things. I'm a board game geek. A lot of people don't know that. So, like, I strategize for fun, for a living and for fun, right? So this is what I do. Okay. So we're here. We're having fun. I'm getting to know them. I really want to understand what their wants and needs are, because like I said before, don't tell nobody, but I'm a lousy salesperson. Like, I want you to make the decision. I just want to help you, give you the information and make you, help you make the decision so I can sleep well at night, right? And so I feel like I did, I made your dreams come true. So I got to get to know them. We got to be in this together, and they got to trust me, because the reality situation is that when you're working with a knowledgeable professional in any industry, right, but particularly in real estate, there's no way that in this process, they're going to know everything I know, right? So they're going to have to, follow my lead, right? Take my guidance and allow it to play out and trust the process. So I think that relationship is so important. You know this in education, they say students don't know, or people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So again, I'm an educator through and through, and I brought that in, and I said, they got to know that I care. They got to know that I'm not just in it for a check, because if I was, this would go differently, right? I'm going to get to know them. I'm going to walk beside them. I'm going to educate them, and we're going to have some fun along the way. I think they're going to see that. I think that buyers are going to see that even though the real estate process can be topsy-turvy, tipsy-turvy, ups and downs, you can also have fun. And I think that I'm hopeful that you can see that.
That's the Maslow before balloon concept. I love it. I love it. And so as we end, other than tuning in to your show, what advice can you give to first-time home buyers, first of all, after they've closed on their new home?
Wow. Well, I would definitely say that homeownership is a lifestyle. So it's not just about getting the home and saying, okay, I can check that off the list. I know I learned this myself. Like I bought this home, by myself, me and my puppy Bentley. And I'm like, what experiences do I want to create in this home? So let's do board game night. I hosted Thanksgiving this year for the first year. And I'm like, dang, it's about my time. I'm like, my car got pulled. It's my turn. But I hosted Thanksgiving and I'm starting to find joy and all that comes along with homeownership. It is a financial responsibility, okay? And understanding that it's not just about, create the experiences in your home, have fun, enjoy it, but also understand it's a responsibility. So like I had to get a tune-up on my AC, you know what I mean? I wanted to make sure, hey, what are the warranties for termites? Florida is notorious for that. Like you want to take care of your asset, right? Don't just get in there, don't just pay the bills, enjoy the home and then preserve it, maintain it, and treat it like a financial responsibility. And last but not least, I tell people, you don't have to go in and think about this right away. But remember that your home is as big of an asset as you make it, right? So start thinking about what's next. Can I pull the equity out and make an investment? Make a down payment on an investment property, right? So can I pull the equity out and send my kid to private school? Can I pull the equity out and start that business that I always dreamed about, right? So starting with that first home, there's so much opportunity from lifestyle to wealth building to happiness. What vibes, what environments you want to come home to every day, right? It's a whole package. It's not just a home. It's literally, it's not just a house, it's a home, right? That's my advice.
I love it. I love it. Miss Amina, I first of all wish you absolutely nothing but the best from one educator to another. I just applaud you. And I can't wait until the episode premiere. So before we leave, can you please just share with everyone again when it's premiering and what time?
Yes. Well, I love hanging out with you guys, but definitely check us out on OWN Network every Saturday, 9, 8 Central, premiering next Saturday, premiering on December 30th, 9, 8 Central. First Time Club, check us out.
I love it.
Homebuyers Club. Check us out.
I love it. I love it. Miss Amina Stevens, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being our guest today. Thank you for sharing your time with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I've had a great time.
To our viewers and our listeners, we thank you for joining us on this journey to explore the depths of our guest's vision and purpose. As we wrap up today's episode, remember that your vision is the compass guiding you through life. Your purpose is the fuel propelling you forward. Embrace the clarity of your vision and let it illuminate the path to a purpose-driven life. Keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep pursuing your purpose with unwavering determination. Your journey is significant, and every step you take brings you closer to the fulfillment of your purpose. Until next time, live life with vision and purpose. Thank you for joining another episode of Vision and Purpose Podcast. Please share, like, and subscribe. Please join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.